Don't Scream is a game where you cannot scream. And that's basically the premise of the game. So let's roll the trailer real quick with this one. But that's honestly the basics of the game. And we'll kind of go into it a little bit. But it's kind of the same feel as Paranormal Tales. It's got that realism effect to it.
Are you excited for this game?
I don't know. It's a small game, like a very small game. It's only got 2 developers. I can't imagine that it's really gonna be much of a game. And the way they describe it, it's a short experience. So, I don't know if it's gonna be a game that really gets on the radar of many people. The trailer just came out today, and I thought it just fit with what we're talking about today, and so that's why I wanted to put it on today. And here it is.
So, guys, if you're just listening on the Spotify, again, what we are looking at is a very realistic home video
Yeah, that's
footage.
1993 home video that your parents used to watch you doing nothing for hours. But
just this is the same gigantic tape recorder that was
Yep.
used to like watch you open presents on
Yep,
Christmas morning and stuff
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
But it's got that really eerie feel, similar to Paranormal Tales, but a different setting. You know what I mean? It's not so like bright, and it's not in a house. It's in a forest. I think it's called Pinewood Forest, and so as you can see on the gameplay, where you see that countdown of 15 minutes 50 seconds right now, that actually is how long you have to survive in this level without screaming. And the way the game is going to work is like you can't scream or you have to start over. And we'll kind of go into how that works once the trailer's over. And really, nothing is like popping out that is scary except for sounds. So I don't know how it's going to be, but the setting is kind of what does it for me.
I kind of like that it's got this 1993 video cam
Yeah.
kind of style to it. I can see how this could be scary. The only thing that makes me a little bit nervous about this is it's almost too dark. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? Yeah, it's almost like too dark. Like it's hard to see even like the things that are supposed to be scary.
I wonder if that's just kind of what we're seeing right now, like in terms of like the gameplay and not being the best of like video quality. I wonder. See, stuff like that is like it's like, oh, that's scary. But anyway, I wonder if it's just the way it looks like on the trailer, because like, you know, resolution gets like smushed or like compressed on YouTube and stuff like this. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. But it's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, I it's giving me a very realistic vibe, and like we're.
I may have jumped right there. So yeah, and anytime you scream, you have to start over. And so the way it works is you cannot play this game without a microphone, if that makes
Yes.
sense. So with that, like you have to use a microphone. And the whole premise of the game, like I said, there's no storyline to the game. However, like you're supposed to survive in this forest for 18 minutes without screaming. And the time only progresses if you move. So if you're standing still, your timer stops, which I thought was kind of interesting. And the way that makes it like the replayability of this game is that the scares are unpredictable, and also like the events are dynamic. So it's hard to predict like when a jump scare will happen or when you'll scream. And what the developer had said is like, yeah, you can like cheat the system in like terms of like lower your microphone. So if you make any noise, like it's not a scream, but that takes away from the game. And what they're saying is like a mere like gasp, like like that will count as a scream. So I think it's a game that has some potential to be fun for a little bit and have friends try it. I don't know if it's a game that will keep me invested in playing over time.
I mean, I'm kind of excited for this game.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I think it's a cool experience because Like we talked about, it's a very small game. It's an indie game. It's developed by two devs, Jor and Joe. I
Hmm.
don't know if I'm saying that right, but I hope I'm saying that
Yeah.
right. So it's literally just two guys that made a game. And I think it's very very cool idea. They're also using the Unreal Engine 5,
Yep.
so it's going to be very realistic. They kind of toted it not so much as a game, but more or less think of it as like a scare
Yeah.
simulator, where it's kind of just like this autopilot experience. And like you talked about, it's going to be an 18-minute experience, and the entire thing is all based on the premise that you don't make any noise
Right.
while you're playing the game. And I think it's a very very cool idea. And
Hmm.
I think for what I would assume the cost of this game to be, because it is an 18-minute experience, I can't
Yeah.
imagine this game is going to be more than like $20.
Yeah.
I think for that price, the experience that you're going to get from this is just going to be a lot of fun. And I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a good game where it's like you can play this game as a group of friends, and like you all try to play together. And, like you say you're playing with like two or three people in the room, you're all kind of watching this thing,
Yeah.
and like if one of you screams, like it kind of screws everything up.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a fun experience, and I think it's going to be a really fun experience for the streaming community. I
Yeah.
think this is going to be a big game for the streaming community, because it's one of those games that you can play, you can get through the entire game in the course of a stream, and you can have your audience kind of mess with you a little bit to
Yeah.
try to get you to like jump and stuff like that. So I do think it's a very cool experience. Like you talked about, it's a dynamic experience, so you can play it over and over again, where you're not gonna be like, oh, there's a jump scare coming up here. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like you're gonna be able to play it a bunch of times. And I think it's just gonna be really, really cool. I'm excited to play through it.
I think kind of what we were even just talking about like a few minutes ago with the experience of like Outlast. Like this is a game that it's like completely like random, and I think that like you said, it helps with that experience of you never know what's coming next, and it's gonna keep you scared the whole time. And that is a really cool aspect of this game to me, and just the setting to me, I think it's unique in terms of like the 1993 VHS, and I think that makes it because like you said, it's something that you've seen growing up as like your opening presents, and like imagine having that at like 11 p.m. at night, and all you have is your camcorder, and like you know what I mean. Like I can understand like the scariness behind it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it for sure. It's just a matter of like how long am I gonna be able to play this game. I'm gonna try to get my wife to play it because she doesn't like scary stuff. So trying to get her to go through it without screaming, that'd be kind of fun. But other than that, I just don't know how much like I think it's gonna be really good for streamers. It's gonna pop off and like, oh, like yeah, let's like try to make me jump during this game and like try to get me to scream. And I think, like you said, that's gonna make it really fun. But somebody that like by myself, it's gonna be one of those things. I'll play once or twice, but I am gonna try it.
Yeah, I mean it's a single player experience, but
Mhm.
I don't think the quote unquote fun experiences you're gonna have with the game are necessarily just playing by yourself.
Right.
I think the fun experiences you're gonna have are, you've played through the game, and then it's like, okay, let's get let me call my brother over here
Yeah.
and see if he can make it through. And like what I think you're gonna have a lot more fun with this game watching other people play
Right.
it. Yeah, so I think that's kind of the catch on this game. And for me, there's a lot of nostalgia. We talked about it. Like dude, I remember like going through like VHS tapes, and it's like, oh, Dave and Pete Christmas 1996. It's just like
Yeah.
that VCR footage like means something to me. Like I just remember seeing that stuff. So there's nostalgia. I think there's going to be a lot of fun there. I think it's going to be, a price point where it's a game where you're not super invested in it. You throw $20 at it and have some laughs with your friends. I think it's going to be a really cool game. And again, we talked about this. It's a small developer. It's
Mhm.
just two guys that made a game. I mean, he was saying that he had his wife just kind of be the game tester. Like it's a small kind of thing, and I think it's cool that these two guys, made something cool that they're really proud of,
Mhm.
and they're gonna get a release, and I hope they do well with it.